What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I am officially back from San Diego Comic-Con. I had a great time over in California. The con was great, and there were a bunch of events out there. So overall, the trip was just a really good time. Seeing everybody out there, hanging out with everybody. It was such a good time. But now that I'm back, I know there's a lot of talk on the internet about both of the events that took place out there. That being the Thrilljoy, the Block Party, and the Moto Dreams event. And I'm just going to try and give my honest opinion and review of both of these events compared to expectations and all that stuff, because I did attend both of them. And let me preface this by saying that both Thrilljoy and Moto are, I believe, in two completely different spaces when it comes to being, like a collectible company. For me, Thrilljoy is trying to be like a replacement for Funko, or just a high-end like collectible company with resale value, stuff like that, where I don't think Moto is in that space whatsoever. I think Mike and Dave are creating a space, a nice community, fun product, and making bag charms and little like Chachi figures, stuff like that. So I don't think they are in the business of like the reselling at high profits on the secondary market business. And I think people need to understand that. A lot of people don't understand that yet, and I guess that's why some people are upset with the product as a whole. But I mean, they're doing really well. Their booth is always packed and selling products. So they are just after a different market. And like Thrilljoy was packed all weekend at San Diego as well. So they were selling through their product as well. But I just think it is two completely different spaces that these products are in. So I just want to start with that when it comes to the events. Now, judging the events as a whole, I'm going to start with the Thrilljoy event. Now, like I said, I've been to a lot of different events. I go to a lot of cons. I travel all over the place. I've been to different fun days and all that kind of stuff. So the Thrilljoy event, to me, when I first read about it and heard about it and bought tickets for it, it was supposed to be like a carnival-like experience, games and stuff like that. And I thought this event was going to be one of the best events I've ever attended. It sounded, in theory, like a really great time where there'd be games all over. You could hang out with your friends, go play games, get some carnival food, and just walk around and have a great time. And it's honestly sounded amazing. And like I said, the Thrilljoy product itself, they're really fun to rip open, all that. So it was just, in my head, it was going to be a great time. And I'm going to start off by saying a couple of the pros of this event that I actually really did enjoy these parts of it. So the boxes that you got at this event, I think they were pretty good. Like, I can't lie, they were good. When you got your 4 pieces and your little pixel in there, like the little bonus pixel, it was pretty good. People were opening their boxes, seeing these pieces, they were really liking them. And I do love the fact that everyone had a chance to get something super rare in their boxes by ripping, tearing open and ripping open the product and seeing if you had the hero product or like the super ultra chase, which was like 24 pieces for these products. I thought that was a great idea. Also, the blues in the box, the mascot blues, I think were really good. Him as like the Ninja Turtle, and I think the Harry Potter one to me was the best one. Because I just liked that he was set up in like his whole cosplay. Sometimes I don't really love the blue in his jumpsuit, like with the like holding the weapons and stuff to represent what he's cosplaying. But that's just a nitpicky thing on my end. Overall, I think the blues in those boxes were really good, and I love to see those. And like I said, a lot of them had chances at 24 pieces, which is also great. So shout out to Thrilljoy for that, because those in those boxes were great. Loved seeing those. However, in the boxes, they also offered different characters, like for limited pieces. And these, to me, I think were very lazy. They took molds that they already had and just put through one color on them, called it a 500 piece, and then if you pulled the 24, it was just a chrome paint job. Now, when Funko did something like this in the past, everyone hated it. Throwing chrome or a single color on a piece and calling it LE, everyone jumped down their throats, and I agree. It wasn't good. It's lazy. It's a cop-out, and when Funko did it, I agree it was terrible. So I just want to keep that same energy here, and I think these were a cop-out and lazy as well. They just took a simple mold that they had that they were selling on their website at the event and just single color painting it and chroming it. I just think that's a lazy way out, especially for an LE product at an event like this. It should be something more special than just a different single paint job. To me, it's just lazy, and I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to get these limited pieces out, which is great, but I think doing it this way is just not the way to go about it. So we'll see how they go forward in the future, but for one, I just think that was very, very lazy. And now, if it was an event exclusive only mold and they did the colorway on, I would have probably different feelings about it. But because it's a mold that they're selling and it's on their website or at their booth, that to me is what makes it lazy. But if it was like event specific and it was something you can't get outside of the event any other way, then I'd probably be more okay with it. But the way they did it like this, I don't like it. I think it's lazy. I think it's a cop-out. Now, let's talk about the event itself. I was pretty much like closer to the middle-ish front of the line, so I wasn't very far back, and we were waiting in line, and to get in, we got in about, I want to say 45 minutes to an hour later, which, to be honest, wasn't expected. It was later than we should have gotten in, especially for a timed event where you have all these things going on. But we got in about an hour after the start of the event, and I know people that were in line for upwards of 2 hours to try and get into this event. Some people I spoke to didn't get in until about 8 or 8:30. Now, I talked to about, I want to say about 100 people at both events, at the con, just about their experience at this event. And like I said, a lot of people told me it took them 2 to 2.5 hours just to get inside at this event, which to me is just way, way too long. I don't know what happened logistically there, but just too long of a time to get in. Now, once you're in the event, let's talk about the food that was offered. It was just like pizza or a hot dog, which, listen, this is what it's expected. Was the food great? No. Was it bad? No. It was pizza. It was like, Domino's or pizza, some sort of pizza like that. It wasn't the best pizza in the world, but it wasn't terrible. It's about what I expected. Like, I had no issues with the food. The pizza was fine. So, for me, that was fine. And it was included in the ticket, which is great. So, another shout out to Thrilljoy for that, including the food in the ticket. I love that. Not a bad way to go about it. And then you also got 2 free drinks, which, again, also great. So, like I said, the food wasn't, I don't expect a 5-star meal in an event like this. However, they did run out of food. So I didn't get any snacks where you got like a little punch card and you can get snacks and food. I didn't get any snacks because they ran out of them very early on also. So that's something else they should look into. I don't know if it's on them or if it's on the hotel that they rent the space from or the people they got to work it. But they ran out of food, which, again, not a good look, especially, when you're paying a certain amount with an expectation from this ticket. But anyway, like I said, food, I had no issues with it except for the fact that they ran out of food. Now, the main thing that I had an issue with at this event was the lines. They had 4 stations to play games. There was like a ring toss game, a knock down the cans game, a hit like the thing with the mallet and make the bell go off game, and a duck game to find like the numbers on the bottom of the duck. They had 4 games. 4 games or maybe 5 games total for this entire event. When I first showed up there, I looked at my group and I said, they only have 4 or 5 game times. We're going to be waiting in lines all night. And they said, I guess we'll see when we get in there. I said, this is going to be a disaster. And that's what it was, in my opinion. And a lot of other people's opinions that I spoke to. When you got in there to play these games, people were waiting online an hour, 2 hours, just to play one game. And now you're saying, oh, well, you know what? You didn't have to play the games, but you kind of did because they gave incentives with these tickets, and the tickets can be redeemed for like other rewards, other products like prototypes, event-exclusive figures, stuff like that. So they wanted you to play these games and get these tickets to go redeem for these, rewards at the end. And these lines were just way too long. You could not enjoy the event. You couldn't walk around and mingle. You were just stuck in line waiting to play. One of my good friends in my group waited 2 hours to play a game. He got like 2 tickets and he looked at his wife and said, I can't do this again. We can't just wait in another line for another 2 hours. The whole event's going to be over. So for that, it was just way too long to wait. And these lines were packed. They were all the way at the back of the event where the stage is at the front. So anything going on the stage, you had no idea what was going on because you were so far in the back, cramped in these lines, the lines that were not moving. You had people cutting the lines, playing the games more than they should. It was just a lot of shady practices going on. A lot of people cutting and buying tickets off other people. It was a complete mess when it came to these tickets because it was just so poorly planned out in my opinion that it just completely fell flat on its face. I've been standing in line all day at the convention. The last thing I want to do is go to this party and wait in more hour to 2 hour long lines. So that to me was a huge knock on the event. And then after you got these tickets or these whole room giveaways, they had a redemption area, which, okay, no problem. I liked that the redemption area was outside of the event. But you know what was going on at that redemption area? Because there was no rhyme or reason and no control over it. you were waiting in another line. I was in that redemption area earlier in the night trying to redeem for, I believe, I had 15 tickets that I had to pull together with all friends to get one redemption for a prototype, and I was in that line for about an hour. So, again, I'm waiting 2 to 3 hours to play games, then going out waiting another hour to go redeem for the prizes, and to me, that is just way too many lines and way too much time wasted on these lines when you're supposed to be having fun at this event, walking around, mingling, talking to other collectors, other people trading, stuff like that. There was just really no room or time to do that because you were stuck waiting in these massive, massive lines. So I think this event had the potential to be top tier, like a lot of fun, better than any fun days I've ever been to, and it just completely fell flat because it was just a line party. You were standing there. I called it line bash because it was just line after line after line, not moving, not doing anything. And not to mention, in these lines, they brought out these giant beach balls, which were legitimately dangerous. Now, I'm glad some people decided, let's get rid of these balls, let's throw them over the fence, which was onto a road, by the way. But let's get rid of these because these are legitimately, they were big, they were heavy, legitimately dangerous. So whoever thought that up, let's scratch that for the next one because not a good idea. But I think just overall, I've been to so many different events, and compared to what was expected, this event was probably one of the worst that I've ever attended. It was just, again, just waiting around all night to get these tickets, to go wait again to redeem. It was just not great, and I've been told by many people that when they did go to redeem their whole room giveaways, because they tried to do it all at once, so they didn't have to wait in multiple lines, they ran out of product, and they tried to replace it with different product that they weren't supposed to get. You were supposed to get X figure, and you got something else because they ran out of product. That, to me, also not great. They also ran out of prototypes at the end of the night because people that were cutting the lines and getting all the tickets went up and got multiple protos, and people that, were waiting in line all night, went to get their proto at the end of the night, they were all gone. So, just poorly planned out, in my opinion, just not a good look. And, overall, I would say it just completely fell flat compared to what was expected and what they wrote out in their little blog about what the event was. It was not good, unfortunately. And I hope they do fix some of these things. And now, I did speak to a representative from Thrilljoy, a couple people from Thrilljoy, and they did seem a little apologetic about it, which I'll give them. But some of the responses I got were also not good. One, when I told them that the event space was way too small for the amount of people that they had inside because it was just too crammed, not enough games, stuff like that. I said, I think the event space is way too small. The response I got was, well, can you book an event space that can fit more people? Can you do it? And it's like, I'm sorry, that is not my job. That is your job. If you want to pay me to book an event space, I'm sure I could. But to have that sort of response, to me, is just very tone deaf. Now, they were apologetic and said they were looking to make changes going forward, but that response I got just completely turned me off. I was also told, oh, you didn't have to wait in lines if you didn't want to, but you kind of had to because they incentivize these good items behind the ticket paywall. So you kind of had to play the games, and you should want to play these games. It should be a fun night. I shouldn't just have to, do nothing. But waiting in these lines to play these games was a complete turnoff. And I was also told that, if you go to a sports game or Disney World, you wait in these lines, so it's no different here. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that because comparing this 1,000-person event to Disney World is truly one of the most ludicrous statements that I've ever heard. So it's so ludicrous that there's really no reason to spend any more time on that. But that was really something that threw me off. Now, saying the event was great because you got items that you could resell, sure. We did get items. We got some good items in the box that you could resell. I got, listen, a couple of these blues here I think are amazing. Like this one, the 400-piece trophy blue from winning the event, the team that won. This is an amazing piece. This is great. I love this. What else do we have? We have this other, a 200-piece blue from playing the dunk tank. Great blue. This is a great figure. I also pulled this. Again, this is a 24-piece Skeletor, one of the better hits of the night. Again, I think it's a lazy mold, but it is a piece that I can resell in the secondary market to get my money. That's great. The prototype I was able to get from pooling the tickets right here, this looks great. It's in a little case. It looks good. It has a little 10. This is nice. But the fact that they made me wait in 4 hours of lines and having to pool tickets with people because we all weren't able to get them. And all that stuff was just a complete turnout. So, like I said, some of the pieces from this event were great. Some of them I do think are lazy. So if you wanted to say the pieces paid for the event itself, great. But I'm talking more about the experience. And the experience to me was a 0, right? It was just waiting in lines nonstop, trying to get tickets, trying to play these games. And overall, just not a good experience whatsoever. Now when we talk about the Rocky Moto Dreams event, let me tell you, I am not saying this event was good either, right? Because this event had its drawbacks as well. Where could we start? Let's start again, like I said, with the handouts and stuff like that from the event. Okay, so you walk into the event, you get your little box of fun, if you want to call it, and there was some nice pieces. You know, I was one of them, and I really liked the most is this little the glow in the dark Leo figure. This is great. I love glow in the dark stuff. I'm a sucker for that. Great figure. And the box, you know, it was fine. It was about what I expected. You got 4 pieces in the box. You got a lab sample, and you got a couple of other event-exclusive figures that were different LEs, and they were all blind bags, so have no issue with that. The food, again, it was light refreshments is what we were told we were getting, and that's what we got. It was a slumber party theme, so you got slumber party type food. So you went out, you got your meal ticket. We got a grilled cheese, a brownie, and a drink. Brownie's a brownie, the drink is a drink, it's good. And then the grilled cheese, I have no issue with it. It's bread and cheese, it's a grilled cheese. Like, I'm not expecting a 5-star meal, it's a grilled cheese. So they didn't run out of food, which was good. Everyone was able to get, and to me, the food was fine, right? It was fine. So I have no issue with that. Some people are complaining, oh, we got a grilled cheese, it was terrible. Mine tasted just like any other grilled cheese I've had, so I had no issues with that. Some people did. I had no issues with that. Now, to the event itself. Doors opened at 6. We pretty much got in right at 6. They said the show starts at 8, so you have 2 hours to eat, hang out, do what you got to do. Great. So they built in a little buffer in case there was a long line to get in. But we were in pretty much 6, 10 after 6, we were right in. Now, here's the biggest complaint I have for this event. The room was packed. It was definitely oversold. Too many people were in that room. Everyone was on top of each other, sitting on top of each other. So, yeah, it was definitely overcrowded. Now, let me say, I had a seat. I know some people didn't have seats. Now, there were empty seats around, so I don't think a lot of people went and actually looked for seats, or they got there late and wanted to sit with their group, and seats were, like, sporadic. But people didn't have seats, which, to me, unacceptable. Everyone should be able to have a seat, and they shouldn't be that packed in. People being that packed in, that room was also very, very hot. It was a pajama party. I could not stay in the pajamas because it was way too hot in the room. So the biggest drawback for me for this event was that it was too crowded and too hot. It was definitely oversold. So they got to do that. Again, this place also had an event space that was too small for the amount of people at the event. Now, in terms of giving away the prizes and stuff, they had the prize patrol where they were throwing out like these little bags here, these little Dreams blind bags where you got like figures inside, like this like translucent figure, just all sorts of different figures in these little blind bags. They were throwing them out. And to Mike's fault for being such a good guy, because we all know Mike and Dave, they're great people. Their whole remedy for the issues here of overselling and the prizes were, if you got a prize already, pass it on to your neighbor. Sharing is caring. And I get it, in a vacuum that should work, it should be great, but people are greedy. People are not nice. Nobody was doing that. Here and there were people doing it, but most people were just catching prizes and stuffing their bags full of prizes. They weren't handing out to other people. The people in the back weren't getting prizes. Now, I will give them credit, because towards the middle of the show, they were realizing these prizes aren't getting to the back. So they started sending their prize patrol out into the hallway, coming through the back doors and throwing prizes to people in the back. So everyone had a chance to get it. And there were more than enough prizes thrown out. They threw out a ton of stuff at this show. There was a lot. More than enough for everybody to get multiple prizes along with their box. So I will give them that credit. But the whole throwing out the prizes thing, I think they can do better with that, because, like I said, not everyone is going to go by the sharing is caring and hand off a piece. And some people were getting frustrated. And I get it. So again, that needs to be worked on. And again, the venue is just way too crowded. Everyone was packed in. So that needs to be addressed. And it will be, because I spoke to Dave the next day as well, and he knew I was there. And immediately when I saw him, was super apologetic about the event. I didn't bring up anything. He said the event was too crowded. The Wi-Fi was not working for the eBay Live thing. It was too crowded in there. He was listing off these things that were a problem that need to be addressed. He apologized profusely, nonstop, saying the next event will be better. I'm sorry, etc., etc. So he was on top of it. Was super apologetic about it, which I respect. And there were no excuses, nothing like that. He just said, "Listen, this is what happened. We're sorry about it. We're gonna fix it." So shout out to Dave and shout out to Mike for all that, because, like I said, that event was not perfect. It was not great either. But if I had to choose to do one of them again the exact same way, it would be the Rocky Moto one. It was just a feel-good, fun event. I wasn't waiting in lines all night, literally just twiddling my thumbs waiting to play a game. It was still interactive, and there was still stuff going on, and you could talk to the people next to you. So overall, like, if I had to do one again, it would be the Rocky Moto event. Now, the Thrilljoy, the stuff you got, the product of the Thrilljoy event is definitely better. Thrilljoy lends itself. They're in that space. They make better collectible products. But as an experience overall, the Rocky Moto event, in my opinion, and in a lot of people's opinions that I spoke to, was a more fun and like interactive event. So I have faith that both of these companies will do better in the future. I hope they do better in the future, but just, again, overall, the experiences I had was just not great. And the responses I got afterwards about the Thrilljoy event, just, there was some, like, apologetic, but a lot of the responses I got were just very tone deaf, in my opinion. And I hope they take the feedback, because it's not just me. I'm telling you, I spoke to at least 100 people about this that shared in the same sentiment as me. And again, I was told by some people over by the Thrilljoy booth, when I was like, yeah, I spoke to like about 100 people, interviewing them about their experience. They said, well, can you name the 100 people? I'm sorry, I'm not writing down the names of the 100 people I spoke to about this event. I'm just letting you know what I've heard and my feelings and my group's feelings about this event and how it went. So that's just where I'm at on these two events. Both had their flaws. Both were not perfect at all. But just overall, the experience I had at both events, I gotta say, if I had to do one again, it would be the Rocky Moto one. Now, the Thrilljoy one, if they make those minor improvements, if they get a bigger space, if they double the amount of games they have, if they don't run out of food, like, if there's space to walk around and have fun and play games and do, that event will be top tier. Like, better than any fun days I've ever been to, better than anything, because that is such a great concept that they came up with. The Boardwalk Beach Bash, like playing games, hanging out with your friends, getting prizes. The concept, incredible. Amazing event. But it fell flat. And I know people say they're a young company, this, that. Brian's been around doing fun days. Carissa's been around doing fun days for years. So they know how to plan an event. They know what they're doing. They know what goes into this. So yes, they're a young company, but the experience is there. And I do hold them to a higher standard. Same with Mike. They're both held to a higher standard because of what they did with Fun Days, because of the events they put on in the past. So I can't just, give them all a pass because they're new companies. I'm tired of hearing that. So I'm hoping they take the feedback that they've gotten, they see what was going on, and they realize that they need to improve. And I really hope they do, because the responses I got for some things were just not great to hear. But I'm hoping that Thrilljoy has taken fan feedback in the past and changed. They have. I will give them credit for that. They've taken, the big picks. They made the newer, smaller product, which is great. They've taken all sorts of fan feedback. The back of the boxes they changed to have all the figures, so you don't know what you're pulling. They've listened. They've listened to the fans. So I'm hoping they listen here and they don't just, brush it off and think, oh, the event was great because our fan advisory board members think it was great, or a few people think it was great because the products, you can resell the products. The event as a whole was not good, so I hope they take the feedback and apply it next year or to their next event and truly throw a great event that I think they can. Same thing with Rocky Moto. I hope they take the feedback. If there were half the amount of people at that event, it would have been great. It would have been a lot of fun. Nobody would have been sweating profusely. So sell less tickets. That event would be great too. So I'm just hoping the next events that both of these companies have coming up, which I imagine will be soon, around the New York Comic Con time, around the winter time, when they put these events together, I hope I really do hope that they take the feedback and they do a much better job so that their events can be just top tier, a lot of fun for everyone that wants to have a night out and enjoy the time we'll have. So that's what I'm hoping. Let's hope it happens, and I have faith that it will. So, you know, like I said, I will be going to their next events. I'll be buying a ticket, and if nothing has changed, I probably won't be going anymore, but I do have faith that they will be changing. So let's hope and see what they do going forward. So let me know, guys, in the comment section down below what you thought about both of these events. Were you at these events? Did you see them online? What do you think about them? And what do you think about, like, you know, overall experience of these events during San Diego Comic-Con? Let me know all that in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear from other people rather than just the people I spoke to out at the con. If I, you know, didn't speak to you at the con and you have opinions, let me know. Write it down in the comments. And if you did enjoy the video, leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I will have more content like this going forward. Like I said, I attend a lot of events. I buy a lot of different products. I'll be buying more Rocky Moto. I'll be buying more Thrilljoy. A lot of people say I'm a Thrilljoy hater. I do not hate Thrilljoy. I spent loads of money at their booth at San Diego Comic-Con. I think their product is really, really fun. The ripping aspect is really fun. I think they make a good product. I just wish they would change a few things and stop shooting themselves in the foot. So, like I said, I will have more Thrilljoy product. I'll have more Rocky Moto and, of course, Funko on this channel. So if you're interested in seeing any more of that, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Throw notifications on so you'll get notified when a new video is posted. But again, I appreciate you guys making this far in the video. And as always, thanks for watching.